touch the ladder. This is the deal. Meaning that they have ladder, they have banana, and they have water. So it just one monkey touch the ladder. Experimenter will spray high pressure water to soak all 5 monkeys. And that's, it can create very uncomfortable situation for monkeys. So this is the deal. Okay, so when they let 5 monkey in the room, and yes, right after monkey see banana, they would like to get banana, so they touch, thinking that they will climb up the ladder. But once they touch ladder, they get water soak over them. So just a few times they learn that they will not, because they didn't get banana and they, so miserable with the cold water. That's why they start doing that. Anyway, after a week, no water, so they remove, water, and they also remove 1 monkey. It's just 4 monkey in the room, but they replace with the new monkey. So when the new monkey entered the room, and after he or she saw banana, that monkey ran into the ladder, hoping that to climb up the ladder. But the thing is, 4 monkey guard against the ladder. Don't want that monkey to touch the ladder. Well, the new monkey have no idea what's going on, but and he or she fought for that. But just one and not for the 4 monkeys. Therefore, for a while, they, he or she learned that better not. So okay, stay away from the ladder. And this is a week. So after that week, experimenter took another monkey out and put the second one in the room. And the second one once in the room again saw banana and would like to climb up to get banana. But 4 monkeys got again that ladder. But something that is very interesting, that the one that is the most aggressive one is the new one. The new one that never been soaked with water. But the way that he got against the ladder is so aggressive. Something like beat up the second monkey badly. Okay, so that after a week, he removed the monkey, and after 5 weeks, all 5 monkey in the room are new monkey, and none of them have been soaked with water. But again, none of them did want to touch the ladder. If we can ask them, and if they can answer us, in human language about what happened, why don't you touch the ladder or climb up the ladder? Maybe the answer, well, this is the way it is, and this is organizational culture. We don't know why, but this is the way that people do, so we should do, because we would like approval from social maybe. And just like in the norm in our society, why do we have to why in Thai and in Japanese probably different in Thai from Thailand, shake hand in Western country. That's no reason. Why do we have to greet each other with that manner? But this is just the way it is. And it can be in organization too. We don't know why people do this and people do that. But yeah, people do that because other people in the organization do so. And it can be very, very important. For example, I will give you just a couple, organizations that they believe that organizational culture is part of their success or their failure. Let's begin with Apple. Okay, so this is Apple ranked #1 even world most admired company in 2018, but probably not in 2019. But up to now, maybe this is can describe about corporate culture of Apple. Products are often inspired by what employees don't like. So when they don't like something, they make it better. Apple hires people who are never satisfied, something that you probably familiar with from Steve Jobs quote that stay hungry, stay foolish. So if you stay hungry, so you keep do something because you would like to get something to eat, or stay foolish means that you keep learning because you know that you don't know. Okay. Apple team strive for perfection, and maybe this is from Steve Jobs. If you know about his personality, he's a type of a person who is perfectionist. He will not settle for just something is good enough or something that is okay. He wants to make it better. Maybe some of you have watched the movie about Steve Jobs. Actually, there are 2 movies, 2 versions. But all 2 versions demonstrator that how Steve Jobs would like something that have to be the best, have to be perfect, and that become part of Apple culture, especially while Steve Jobs were there. But as you can see, I would think that right now Apple's changed their organizational culture, not probably not intention by intention, but because they have new CEO, which is Tim Cook. As we all know that Tim Cook has so much different personality from Steve Jobs. Tim Cook is very calm. Even though outside, the way that, their outfit pretty much the same, but in detail different. For example, both of them wear like t-shirt and sneaker, but in details, brand of sneaker totally different. Tim Cook wear Nike, and the reason is because he is the board of Nike. But Steve Jobs, only one brand that Steve Jobs wore which is New Balance, yes. That's about how they're very different. Therefore, CEO personality can affect organizational culture, or even downturn. They continue to invest and develop in employees. That is Apple, and I can go on about other organization. But let's look at another side of the angle when we look at organizational culture. How about Dell? We all know that Dell sell computer, and they'll succeed because Dell can come up with good computer with reasonable price. How organization can come up with good product and reasonable prices mean that they have to be very serious about their cost. Meaning that they try very hard to contain their cost. They try to be very efficient. That leads to type of culture that emphasize cost efficiency. Meaning that you can be hero in Dell if you can help organization to save cost. But the thing to save cost is mean that you want to do something, use the same thing, but make it better and better and better, because this is efficiency that we are talking about. But in terms of industry, IT, computer, it's not that way. It's not just because you come up with the same thing all day, but the cost is cheaper and cheaper. Because the business landscape, especially IT, change very fast. So it didn't work for Dell. Therefore, they'll look at that type of culture as that liability, something that caused them a problem, because it's be better for them to be very innovative. So what Dell came back after that Michael Dell left, as in his thought that probably he have professional manager around his company, he had to come back and reshape his corporate culture to be something that he believed is gonna lead to corporate success. Okay, this is just one of two stories that how organizational culture can be very important. And organizational culture mostly came from leader, top executive. Nonetheless, HR will be very important mechanism to embed organizational culture in the organization. Therefore, I think it's worthwhile for us to talk about organizational culture in HR section. All right, so what about this organization? Are you familiar with this organization? Suppose. Yeah, okay, suppose sales shoes. Well, actually, Tony Hsieh, I think he's a quite very interesting person. He's an entrepreneur. He was an entrepreneur since he was in Harvard. And in Harvard, people study very hard, trying to get good grades. But for Tony Hsieh, it's not just about study. He also see opportunities while he was a student. He saw that lots of people, they study very hard and they don't want to leave that dormitory. So one of the very first business that Tony Hsieh did is that he went out and get like pizza or hamburger from outside campus and sell that to students who don't want to go out, with like markup price, something like that. So in that way he make money and he can save money, and he create his venture capital. He invested in a lot of company. But one of the company that he invested is Suppose, and it turned out to be a company that he fell in love with. Especially the part that organizational culture has turned out to be exactly what he thinks it should be. All right, but nowadays, if you Google about Suppose, there are also some problem with Suppose, especially their organizational structure. which is if I have time, I will talk about that. The thing is, Tony is so really into organizational culture. For example, this is his quote. He said that I suppose our belief that if you get the culture right, most of the other stuff like great customer service or building a great long-term brand of passionate employees or customers will happen naturally on its own. So just organizational culture, if you get the right one, everything will follow. But but another story about Support is that even though Support did very well in terms of, for example, like financial performance and also customer service, they actually provide excellent service. But nowadays, Tony Hsieh go very far. Since he really believe in organizational culture, therefore he tried to get rid of structure. Normally, organizations have structures like pyramid, right? From top to the bottom. But Tony Hsieh believe that that's useless. Why don't we just let everybody know what they want to do? So in the other word, Tony Hsieh tried to get rid of our organizational structure, so whatsoever. They just let if you want to do this, you just form your team and do this and do that with the budget that we have. So it's become like crazy, because since organization doesn't have system, so it's hard to run that organization, even though they have very good and very strong culture. So the thing that I would like to tell you is this, that even though organizational culture is very important, but it doesn't mean that it can replace other part of the business. I don't know. So far, supposed to struggle with no organizational structure, even though Tony Hsieh still insists that this is the right thing that he should do. Right. So that's about example that organization that really believe in how organizational culture can help them to succeed.
น่าจะตรวจตาม
But
ชี้มากกว่า
it doesn't mean that organizational culture is the only answer when we manage. In terms of research, there's research that try to study relationship between organizational culture with financial performance, and it turned out that no, not really. In the other word, we cannot find type of organizational culture that lead to financial performance. But yes, organizational culture can highly related to innovation, and this is probably part of your assignment. Meaning that if organization would like to enhance innovation, organization cannot ignore organizational culture part. And if you are familiar with SCG, SCG is one of the Thai company that talk about innovation, and inside SCG they try to work a lot on their organizational culture. But after reading that article, you found that SCG probably not on the right track. If you see what I mean, do you see what I mean? Because most of the time, when especially Thai organization talking about innovation and organizational culture, they try to say that they have innovative organizational culture. But that term is too vague. What does it mean? What the heck is innovative organizational culture? If you would like to grow organizational culture, you have to lead to innovation. You have to be more specific than just to say that our culture is innovative culture. That does have no meaning at all whatsoever to manage. And we discuss about that in details with your assigned leading. All right. First thing first, we need to make sure that we're on the same page. Meaning that I remember that when I began to talk about organizational culture with students, and students came to me and said, Professor, I think that most of people just talking about organizational culture, and organizational culture is overrated. Meaning that it's not that important. And since I'm type of person that I would like to know and feel this all the time, therefore I asked that person why you think that, and then when after talking about with him for a while, about the organizational culture for a while, I understand because he did really understand what organizational culture is. Okay? In that case, let's talk about what it is. What is it not? But actually, it's hard to say what is it not, because when we talk about organizational culture, it's cover wide range everything in the organization. If to sum up, it can be like shared belief that everyone believe in the same thing in that organization, or share saying, they say the same thing, or share doing, they do the same thing. Share believing. It can be something like organization DNA, which is just like people with each individual personality. If you recall, we discussed about personality before, and it turned out that we all have unique personality, and it's the same with organizational culture, that each organization have unique characteristics, and those characteristics can describe about how that organization operates and what people do in organization. And anyway, according to this article, your reading article, part of this article also discuss about definition of organizational culture. Can you find where that is described about what organizational culture is from this article? And by the way, this probably is very cute. No, it took me long, to read this article because I just, oh, this is so cute. I love to have this copy. Can you find where this article discuss about definition or what does it mean by organizational culture? Anybody?
Number 3.
Number 3, let's see. Number 3. Where exactly is number 3? Right now we're talking about definition, or what does it mean, or when we talk about organizational culture, what it is.
The end of page 68.
Mm-hmm.
The last paragraph, middle of the last paragraph.
There is nothing inconsistent about being frank and respectful in fact.
The next sentence, that providing and accepting frank criticism is one of the
That probably just talk about type of culture that's be candid. But right now we try to find like how this organization, how this article discuss about definition or what does it mean, how they define organizational culture. I find on page 70. That's under number 5. Number 5 they say that organizational culture means how people behave and interact regardless of official position. So what we believe, what we interact with each other, how we behave, can be governed by organizational culture. It's not just about, in the end, it's not just about system or structure per se that make people to do this and that because you my boss, so I have to talk with you in this manner. But actually, part of it can be organizational culture, and this article also refers to organizational culture as a social contract. Social contract that we know that what we should do or we should not do. That's how we define organizational culture. It's invisible yet very powerful template that takes employees' behavior, what we do. It even goes deeper to how we think in this organization. And even today, organizational culture seems to be more important because the trend in business is to decentralize. Just like in this article, that it's not just about top that make decision, but it's decentralized to everyone get involved in decision making. Therefore, to have good organizational culture, it will support quality in decision making. That's importance of organizational culture. But now you will see that in this red half, we're talking about individual job fit. We would like to hire someone that fit with the job. For example, we would like to have like extrovert working as a salesperson. But in terms of HR, it's not just put the right man on the right job. That's another story. No, because another thing that we're looking for is we would like to have individual organization fit. But the thing is, when we're talking about individual job fit, it can lead to performance. Meaning that if you are right for the job, you will perform that job very well. But what about individual organization fit? Do you think that it will lead to performance? No, not really. It's not enough because you fit with the organization that you will perform very well. But it have an effect on turnover. That person will stay longer with the organization, and we are aware that in HR we would like to have big number of turnover rate. But by the way, what is the number of turnover rate? What should it be? Turnover in organization, what number it should be? Well, this is the question that I am asked a lot, since I'm HR professor. So, most people are like, Ajahn, what do you think about this number? What do you think about this number? Actually, rule of thumb is one. What about, turnover in that industry? Because farm industry can be very different in terms of turnover rate, but, that's just like very simple. But I go further than that. For me, probably it doesn't matter much about number of turnover, but it's about who leave organization. If the one that leave organization is the one that not fit with the organization, with the one that cannot perform really well, that actually that is good. So please go, that is good news. But if that person is valuable, talent leave organization, that's not so good. So HR have to do something. Probably they have to look closely at the exit interview, and which is the part that most of HR fail to do so, including top management. Some organizations they have very very good systems, and when someone leave organization, they do exit interview. But believe it or not, that information just stay in in the database or the basic which HR. Nobody, especially top management, take a look why, what caused people out, some people to leave. That something that we should think about is more seriously. But anyway, someone asked me that how can we tell about organizational culture? If we go to one organizational, and how can we tell what type of organizational culture is for that organization? Any idea? If you would like to know type of organizational culture, what can be your clue? Core value. We talk about that core values a little bit later, but for me, I don't think that it can tell us much about organizational culture. When we talk about the real culture, but good idea. Who said that? You know his name? Good. Okay. Anything else?
The
Yeah?
dress, the way the people dress can go to.
The way that people dress, okay, that can tell, but it's later I'll explain about organizational culture. That is just like we call it artifacts. It can tell part of organizational culture, but it's not very powerful. But if we want to what that organizational culture is, maybe something that can tell us is we can look at person probably like their top management or the one that who get it very fast in an organization. Thing is, this is not from research, but this is from my experience. From what I see, in my experience, that one that who get ahead in the organization very fast seems to be the one that have values or personality that compatible with that organization. For example, it's just like my story. I'm not a person that not get ahead in this organization. I mean, in terms of administrative position, not academic position. Because as professor, you have advancement in two ways. One is, in administrative position, management, for example, being like the dean position, or in management committee. I'm not, because I'm think very much different from lots of people in this school. But for academic, something that you are on your own. So as you, I don't know, for someone that I see they seem to have personality or value that's compatible with what we describe Jula conservative. Since some people wow that we are one of the oldest, which is maybe it doesn't mean that the oldest is the best. But anyway, so pretty slow to me, I think. And Anyway, so but I'm not saying that this is not good or bad, but it's just different. So as you can see that the one that gets same values or personality that compatible with organization tend to get a job and also promotion, career promotion. So that's something about fit with the organization. Okay. Can we enhance fit? Yes, we can. For example, in terms of person job fit, we can enhance with training, right? You know, equip with skills, something that they lack of. And also in terms of individual organization fit, can we enhance that fit? Yes, we can with socialization process. Like, you know, family day, get together day, that you try harder if you don't think that you fit with the organization. So you try to hang with, you know, people in that organization, this can help. All right. So I'm telling you about this, you know, in case that you don't feel that you don't fit with your current organization. You will feel better if you try harder. Therefore, if you know organization have some activity, try to go, and then it will help in terms for you to adjust to that organization. And I encourage you to try harder. Just look at it something that, well, this is fun, this is something challenging in my life that probably I should try. All right. So to explain about organizational culture in details, for this, as you can see, that organizational culture cover one range of probably can be anything. It can be like documents, physical layout, furnishing, language, jargon. Jargon means specific language, language for a specific group that group will understand, but for outside group, it's hard for outsider to understand. Work ethic and so on. It can be anything, but for us to understand it easier, we can look at organizational culture in 3 layers. Okay, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so again, iceberg came back. We saw iceberg before in decision making. This is metaphor that when we look at organizational culture, that is can look like just an iceberg. Something above water is easy to be seen, like physical structure, language, ritual, ceremony, stories, that. For example, well, and maybe all of us came from different places, but can you tell about like Jula organizational culture? So this is, even though this is your first semester, but can you feel or can you tell about Jula organizational culture? Maybe from something easier like artifacts. Can you tell? Can you feel? Yeah. With ritual, I would say, and so ceremony, for example, like Rap Nong. And the reason that we have Rap Nong because we have seniority. It's probably different from Thammasat that no, everybody is equal. But Jula, we so third way because we believe in seniority. So if you don't familiar with Jula, if you junior, your senior is supposed to treat you like everything. So this is something that I'm enjoying very much when I was young, when I was Jula student. That's because we believe in seniority. When they met senior, they whine, right? They don't whine professor, but they whine. And this is seniority, in Jula student. That's something that we can tell. Or we can tell from uniform, right? Something easy to be seen that Jula student wear uniform, and we have reason why we have uniform, and something that we try to tell students because nowadays students protest that they don't want to wear uniform, which is, and this is part of nature of culture, that culture mean that even though it happened, but it doesn't mean that it cannot change. Okay, but for business. We don't want it just just change by whatever you want to change, but we want to manage organizational culture. Therefore, we have intervention. We call it organizational culture management because we don't want to just let it be, because it will be whatever it be. For example, maybe in the near future, maybe no uniform in July because it's turned out that the student they don't like the idea, even though I think it's so cool to wear uniform. But anyway, that's part that's easy to see, but it's probably in terms of its impact, not so much. It's easy to observe, to be observed. Can be like physical structure, maintain and transmit organizational culture. It's easy to change because it's a place. It's something that we can it's tangible, so it's easy to change. It can be like office design. For example, this is Facebook. Yeah. So from this type of office, what do you think it can be organizational culture of Facebook? Yeah. From this type of layout, not layout, but furnishing or office. What can we tell about Facebook culture? Cheerful? Well, not really. Flexibility. Why do you think it's flexibility? Well, it's probably like equality. Maybe like everyone equal. Didn't you see the clip about Mark Zuckerberg office that he claimed that he didn't have his private room, he just had like just table, just like every other employees in Facebook. But one thing quite obvious from this picture and next we talk about this is they have culture that they call transparency, which is like okay, can see everything, and this is lead to the way that performance evaluation in Facebook, that they allow everybody to know who evaluate them and in what score. You see, because they have supervisor evaluate subordinate, but subordinate know about that performance clearly because everything have to be transparent. But imagine that if we have that, maybe especially the organization in Thailand, it's gonna create problems because part of that is culture, especially organizational culture. It doesn't mean that what works in one organization will work in other organization, and part of that reason is organizational culture because they have that type of culture that everything is so transparent and it's open. So yeah, that's for everyone. That's to know what happened in the organization. And also let's talk about Samsung a little bit. Also in terms of Samsung, actually Samsung have vision that they want to go globally, and it took them a long time. It's not just the success of Samsung is not just happen overnight. They plan that they send employees abroad just to learn about culture. Go there and learn, and probably nothing get done much, but because they would like to expand internationally, so it's very helpful for Samsung to know about local market. But anyway, Samsung just like one of IT company that their strategy is innovation, right? But the thing is how to get innovation. Just like I told you, don't tell me that to have innovative organizational culture because it's too vague. So Samsung come up with their own version, how to enhance, innovative organization. Which is all part of that, their office, they try to have more common space. Just like, in your article that collaboration is a key. You cannot just come with great ideas just alone. Chances are you have to help other and build on each other idea. And in terms of physical space can have something to do with collaboration. If we have like closed wall, it's hard, to like have eye contact and working with other. Therefore, for organizations that would like to enhance innovation collaboration, they try to have a lot of common space in the office. Or even Telenor Detac, in their head office, they try to make sure that they have like coffee place, just few, one or two very good coffee maker for everyone that have, if they want coffee, they have to go to that place, so they will bump into each other. Instead of just a small coffee maker in each, small pantry, no, just have just with one or two very good coffee maker. So hopefully that people from different functions, from different areas will bump into each other. So that, it will help in terms of artifacts, office. That can do something very much to help people to know each other, because when we know each other, we help each other. But what about if we would like to go deeply about Samsung, in terms of their values? Oh, how about I explain you about values before I go back, revisit about Samsung. Okay, so not only that artifact that in terms of office physical space, but also story, legend. For example, like 3M. Are you guys familiar with 3M story that they come up with Post-it note? You guys know Post-it note, right? And this is something that 3M is very proud of, the creativity and innovation. If you would like to know story about Post-it note in details, you can just Google to their website, and they do exactly just like this. Describe real people. They provide name of two person working for 3M. One person that come up with Guru, but that Guru did work very well, but he keep the idea with himself. And another person, I think he's doctor something. He like to go to church, and every time when he go to church, he have like to turn the scripture back and forth. So he would think that, oh, it would be nice to have some like paper to stick, but and we can easily take it off. And they met each other accidentally in 3M conference, and they share idea and become this, their collaboration and come up with Post-it note. And in fact, when they launched the Post-it note, it failed. The reason it failed is because customer don't have need that, why do I need this stationery? But since it is spirit of 3M that they did pick up easily, even though when they first launched Post-it note and it failed, they came back and come up with marketing strategy, which is they try with like giving away for their target. So just a couple of times, people get hooked with Post-it note and become story of success on Post-it note. So that talk about story in 3M. That is artifact. Example of artifacts. Story, legend can be ritual like Chula Ratnam or Amway that they have ceremony. Celebrate one who's like get the best salesperson. That's to transmit what they think is important in organization to other in organization. Alright, it can be words used to address people. So for example, in some of organization can be like kun, but some organization can be like P, something like that. Is talk about organizational culture. Leaders use phrases and special vocabulary and language in subcultures. Well, talking about subcultures, this means that even though one organization have one dominant culture, but in each organization can have sub-dominant culture. For example, even though we're talking about Chula, have like Chula culture, which is basically sotas, seniority, order, tradition, unity, and spirit. This is talking about values of Chulalongkorn University. But I would think that, and I believe that in each faculty we have different organizational culture. For example, business school have very much different culture from faculty of art, faculty of architect, faculty of engineer. that is what we call subculture, or even in business school. If you can tell that professor from each department seem to have different characteristics. My department is commerce. Well, commerce seems to be everything, in commerce except marketing and finance. But later when you meet like marketing professor, you will find that they say the same thing. Marketing professor, they're like, marketing person, if you see what I mean. They're like, seem to be too good with people, very friendly, talkative, that's marketing. But for finance, like, look elegant, something like that. So this is, way that, we, and for accounting, look like neat, because they're accountant, so they have to make sure that everything has to be in order. So that's considered to be subculture, but meaning that just one type of culture in organization, it can be different, but they tend to share the same thing in each organization, or maybe it's just like the same for your organization, which is you have your organization culture, but in each department seem to be a little bit different from departments. Okay, so next level. This level we call shared values. Shared values. Okay, and this is example. Well, right now I think I'm very interested in Huawei. So therefore I try. Anybody work for Huawei? This is Huawei core values. Teamwork, customer first, dedication, continuous improvement, openness, initiative, integrity. And Huawei describe people in Huawei as wolf. They call wolf culture. Because first character of wolves is bloodthirsty. People of Huawei are extremely sensitive to the market information and quick response promptly to any changes. Second character of wolves is resistant to coldness. So they they have patience. Fearless. And the third character of wolves is taking action in teams. They were in teams. So Huawei try to embed this type of core values in the organization. All right, CPFA. CPF. This is anybody know for CPF? This is CPFA. 3 benefits to sustainability, speed and quality, simplification, adaptation to change, innovativeness, integrity, honesty, reciprocity, and that in that corner I have example of that product. The reason that I have this product
ไม่มี
is because
CPF เว้ยในเนี้ย
I read news
CPF
about
way.
CPF and executive talking about their organizational culture, and they credit their organizational culture for their success in the way that they made product in the past was raw chicken, which is that they sold raw chicken in Thailand and export to different places around the world. But the thing is, there's problem crisis with the that's bird out of chicken food and bird food, something like that. So they EU prohibited raw chicken from Thailand, meaning that they cannot do any business at the time. So it was their big problem, but they credit that to adaptation to change and innovation. Well, since they cannot export raw chicken to EU market, so instead of they just sit still and just wait for something better happen, they try to come up with change and innovation, meaning that they add value to that raw chicken to make it to be ready meal. So this is a story that they want why they have Kalagate chicken or other type of more and more ready meal, because from crisis can be an opportunity if it depends on the way that you look at crisis. If you look at crisis as problem, is end of the story, you're gonna die. But if you think that crisis are okay, I'll do something. So and this is because and because they you know this is the way that they do they are not afraid to change and they have innovation. So therefore they come with new product. And now today it's become like even egg you know they don't just sell raw egg in the supermarket, especially in their convenience store. They have boiled egg, they have like onsen. And the prices go upper and upper with the value that they add to that product. So that's they say that it came from the CPF way or their organizational values. And Toyota way. When talking about like Toyota talent or why Toyota become one of the very successful company in the world. Again, Toyota credit to their values. Anybody work for Toyota? Probably can have, okay, so you can help me to explain about this Toyota talent. You have it in front of you, but anything else that you would like to add? You familiar with this, right? Genji. Would pronunciation please in Japanese way?
Genchi Genbutsu.
Genji.
Yeah.
Meaning that go to the root cause of the problem. This is come from Mr. Toyota. When he experienced some problem, he tried to get the root cause with the 5 why methodology. When something happens, act why, until get to the root cause of the problem. So Genji. Okay, that's and Kaizen. Okay,
Yeah.
Kaizen means continuous improvement. You have to keep make it better and better. You don't just like settle for okay, this is good, but Kaizen, make it better. That's Kaizen. Challenge, teamwork, respect. Okay, that's Toyota way or Toyota talent. When and this is part that HR maybe that's from your own experience. From day one, a person start working for Toyota, a person will know about this in orientation. And it keep going and going and going and going, just like religion, in Toyota. Because try to embed that, in everybody's headed idea. And this is that pony chain. That's if you recall that we talk about suppose that sell shoes on the internet, and they have these 10 values: deliver wow through service, invest and drive change, great fun and a little weirdness, be adventurous, creative and open-minded, pursue growth and learning. Well, actually, among 10, the one that I like the most is number 10, be humble. Even though this is American company, but to be humble actually can be an asset. So I think that's interesting. That was very serious about these values. And again, this is the part that is not just come from top management, but in HR play a very important role in shaping organizational culture. For example, in Stackpost job interview. Normally in job interview, you got a question something like, what is your strength, your weaknesses, your career goal, blah, blah, just like typical question in job interview. But you will not got that type of question in Stackpost for job interview. The question that you will get something like, it will reflect those 10 core values. So example of question that is asked in job interview in Stackpost like, tell me about your theme song, what is it? And can you sing the theme song to us? You understand theme song? Do you have the theme song? I think some of you do, and I do too. Anybody would like to, tell us about your theme song? Do you understand theme song that, is just like, it's you. When you listen to that song, if you embrace power with that song. Anybody have theme song that you don't mind to share with the rest of the class? If you don't, I probably, share my theme song. Theme song. Theme. You understand theme, right? Theme song. Your theme song. Did anybody have theme song that represent you, explain about you, or when you listen to that song, you embrace power?
แล้วจดตำราว่าเป็น
You
คน
do? And it's Korean song. Or
It's OST.
what is it?
OST is background.
What is the title of the song?
The Pirate of the Caribbean.
Oh, okay. Why you like that song?
It's really, it sounds really soldierous and then it makes me feel like naked.
With the rhythm.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Yes, good. Okay. Anybody else have theme song that you would like to share? Really? If you cannot answer, you will get a job in some course. And probably you say, fine, I don't want to get a job in some course anyway. But just you sit in the interview, you have to come, you got this question. What would be your answer? Never think about your theme song, really? Don't have your theme song. I had a theme song. I say I had because it's not that song today. I had that theme song for quite a long time, and that song is Jai Nak Le. เมื่อเธอเลือกอยู่กับเขา ตัวสั่นคุกเข่าและสั่นไหว that's what was me the way that the way that I look at love that I am a loser something like that but nowadays I try to have positive attitude. So I try to look at love in more colorful way. So my theme song nowadays the one that I really like and when I listen to that song I feel so good is Ed Sheeran Think Out Loud.
สุบรีก็จะให้แบบความเครียดลดลงแบบถ้า30 วันขึ้นแบบว่า
That's
จะเก็บไว้สุดท้ายแค่สัปดาห์
something that organization has tried to do with how they invent the organizational culture. All right, and if you wonder, part of your article talk about Amazon.
กระโดดช้า
Okay. In that case, let's talk about this article because we talk about Amazon, so and this is just for you to know, this is Amazon companies. But okay, let's spend some time talk about this article. Okay, shall we? Alright, so this article is as I read it, this one. The hard
ๆแล้วมัน
truth,
จะแรนดอม
creativity can be messy, and it just came out in the beginning of this year, January, February 2019. Alright. Are you ready?
ซื้อที่แบบรายได้เพิ่มอยู่แถวๆนี้
Okay, so again, as I mentioned that when we ask some organization, especially from my knowledge, in Thailand, that what is your organizational culture? Most of them probably answer type of our organizational culture is innovative culture. That is too vague. It's too general. You have to be more specific. And this article tries to be more specific that, well, if you would like to create innovative organizational culture, there are some characteristics. For example, that can be characteristic of innovative organizational culture. In the other word, when I hope that when we done with OB and HR, team leadership and HR with me. So when you hear someone say, my culture is innovative organizational culture, you can roll your eyes and say, because if we talk about how we enhance innovation, we have to be more specific how we can enhance innovation. For example, in this article talking about something that from research. that most of research find that if you want to have innovation in the organization, you must be like, yeah, you raise your hand. I thought that you raise your hand. Like what characteristic of organizational culture that can enhance innovation according to this article that came from research. And it's something like easy to understand. It's just like, this have face validity. Those characteristics are that's one of that. Okay, for other that tolerance for failure, right? Tolerance for failures. You allow people to fail. It's okay to make a mistake. That one. Willingness, just like you just mentioned, willingness to experiment, and psychological safety, because you feel safe when you do something, you say something, you will not get fired easily just because you probably made some mistake or say something that people don't like, and highly collaborative. And the last one is non-hierarchical. So this is something like typical that we can expect if we would like to manage, the organizational culture that must have these characteristics. All right. But before I go on, besides these 5, there are also other type of characteristics that can lead to innovation, but probably not in research. These 5 are in research finding. Okay. But there are other type, for example, like let's talk about Samsung. What type of characteristics that make Samsung create their organizational culture that lead to innovation? And of course, it's not these 5, one of these 5. Maybe this part you have to guess. What type of characteristic besides 5, this 5 characteristics that tolerance for failure, willingness to experiment, psychological safety, highly collaborative and non-hierarchical. Anything else that can help organization to come up with innovation besides these 5? That sounds good, but but it is not what Samsung focus on. But it doesn't mean that you're wrong. But I just would like to ask about Samsung. Okay, anything that you think that's besides these 5, inclusive, diverse, meaning that you got different ideas from different type of people. You let people to involve. It's not just like top executive say something, but everyone get involvement, or it's not just someone that who are in your inner circle that have impact in the organization. Anything else you think that Samsung did? It seems like most of you have no interest to guess. Okay, so I tell you anyway. They call it empathy. You understand empathy? Actually, empathy has been talking about lately. Empathy is something that if, for example, if you have empathy with your customer, you will find unmet needs that your customer probably that suffer, they want this. So and you can understand unmet needs if you have empathy. Okay, empathy go further than just understanding, but you really understand pain or uncomfortable that your customer experience. And that when Samsung have that empathy, they try to transmit that type of values in the organization, meaning that it's not just empathy with customer, but empathy with everyone in the organization. Anyway, so they found that empathy, they found unmet need at the time. That's for workers, people in Korea and in Japan. What they're looking for is that not only that they want a cell phone, but they want something that they can take note. And it's when people have to carry 2 devices, it's not comfortable for them. So this is empathy that designer come up with. How about we come up with one device that can, just like cell phone and then can take note. Okay, so that and this is unmet need at the time, and and this is probably you can imagine that the little Galaxy phone, Samsung Galaxy, before that. But anyway, designer have found that unmet need empathy, and then they share that with engineer, because they cannot actually the one that who make product, they have to have engineer to make product. But when they to engineer that, well, we find unmet need, we have empathy with our customer that we should come up with one device that act just like function just like a cell phone and also can take note. Engineers just like, well, this is not a good idea, because at the time cell phone gets smaller. This is a trend that Steve Jobs said. If you recall, cell phone was very big and it gets smaller. So when designer tell engineer that we would like to make phone, and then and large and big enough, to take notes, engineer reject the idea, telling that no, because cell phone has to get smaller. And then they even have argument, strong, like big argument, something like engineers say, so it's only someone that have big face will buy this phone. Because when you have big face and buy that phone, it will make your face look smaller. Korean trend that. Anyway, so but designer have empathy with engineer that probably they just engineer were thinking. Therefore, the designer try to convince engineer something like, okay, how about I don't ask you to make a cell phone that can take note, but I will ask you to make a note that can function just like a cell phone, okay? And then, okay. And then this is like Galaxy phone. And it's become like big hit for Samsung. And this is empathy between designer and customer, and empathy between designer with engineers. So this is like, some maybe another characteristic that can lead to innovation. But anyway, back to this article. But it's not just like, just one side of the coin. It's not just like, okay, tolerant to failure, or even something even worse that we're talking about innovative organization culture. You think about colorful, you think about fun, you think about like, Google Live, Facebook Live. It's just part of the story. So this article talking about part of another side of the coin. For example, what is another side of the coin? What does it mean by tolerance for failure, but no tolerance for incompetence? Did you read SI article? I began to doubt that because you just seem like, oh, I don't care much. So, what does it mean by that? Not really. It's not just about. It's have to. When we talk about failure, it should be failure, not because you don't know enough. Okay. For example, they're talking about, okay, everyone make mistake. They have failure, but it should not just from mediocre technical skill, because you're not good enough. Therefore, you make failure. Or sloppy thinking because you don't think clearly enough about that, or bad work habits, or poor management. That should not be reason why you experience failure. Right? This is mean tolerant for failure, but not tolerant for incompetence. We tolerant for failure because everyone can make a mistake. But that when talking about everyone, it has to be a good one. It has to be a high competent one. So they're talking about story that Steve Jobs was notorious for firing anyone he deemed not up to task. He have good standard, he have high standard. If that person is not up to standard, he let go easily and probably with no respect to that person. If you watch the movie about Steve Jobs, force curve. We will talk about that in detail when we talk about performance evaluation, that we rank people in A, B, C, just like Netflix. They have just grade A pair. They don't want to have B plus, or even like B minus in the organization. And for example, therefore, Google is a place that they allow people to have the make mistake. if you remember Area 120 incubator center, that they don't mind if their employees spend time and also their resource in that project and it fails because hopefully that they learn something from that project. They can do that because they believe that everyone in Google is good, meaning they have high competence. The reason is because it's very hard to get into Google. Given that, when 5,000 position vacant and it can be like 2 million applications. So they can very selective to get the best one of the best. So when they have very good one in organization, well, they have room for those people to make some mistake. Because it's typical that you often don't know what you don't know. Alright, so in this article they distinguish between productive failure versus non-productive failure. You make mistake, but have to be not because you're not good enough, but just because something that you cannot control. And once you make from that mistake, you learn from that mistake. So it should not celebrate failure, but celebrate learning instead of that. Alright, so that's talking about failure. And this is the part that leads to Amazon. Why Amazon? On page 67, mention about Amazon. What about Amazon in that failure? What does this have to do with number one? Why the author used Amazon as an example? Why, huh? They refer to one article in New York Times magazine, right? If you're curious, you can go back and read that article. It's very entertaining actually, and quite sad when you read that article. That article interview former Amazon worker and also current Amazon worker. And the title of that article, that piece of paper, the title is Toxic Culture at Amazon. They accuse Amazon that have very unhealthy culture. And if you're curious what it is, this is Amazon culture. Customer obsession. This came from Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos really believed in customer satisfaction. In fact, in the meeting, he's the one that like to leave one seat empty. And then he told everyone in the meeting that imagine that someone is sitting on that chair, and that person is our customer. So what we are gonna do, we have to put customer need, customer happiness into consideration. That is customer obsession. And it's pay off because Amazon also one of the organization that is rated that very, very good in terms of customer satisfaction survey. Ownership, invent and simplify, right a lot, hire and develop the best, insist on the highest standards, think big, bias for action. Bias for action means that you have to do, it's not just about all the talking. Frugality, vocally, self-critical, and so on. So according to that article, talking about the way that people in Amazon work. Normally we work like 40 hours per week, right? But in Amazon, it's typical that people work like 80 hours per week. So they work very, very hard. And when you get a message or email, you are expected to respond within a half an hour. No matter what time you get that message. It doesn't matter, it's like 1 o'clock in the morning to 3 o'clock in the morning. You have to respond very, very promptly because you have to be something like this fast for action. You have, you're supposed to work very hard. Therefore, in that article talking about it's difficult to see people cry at the table. They feel so stressful at work, and some people claim that they got cancer because working from Amazon, because working atmosphere is very stressful. It's very competitive, very aggressive. Aggressive in a way that if you, for example, if you work with like Mr. A and you're not happy with Mr. A, you can directly report that to Mr. A direct boss. Okay, something like you can like backstab Mr. A very easy, something like that. So like working as coach with them, the people say it's aggressive. But Jeff Bezos also addressed that issue. He said that come on, if we that bad, how come we keep going and going? So from what in that article is not true about Amazon. Well, we outsiders, so we just like okay, we listen to everyone, but just that's according to this article they're talking about. It's very tough in Amazon because in terms of get balance between making a mistake and incompetence, they would like to have incompetence and no mistake. All right, so this from this article. And number 2, anybody can help me with number 2? Explain about willingness to experiment but highly disciplined. What does it mean?
It's about allowing employees to do the experiment, but in doing the experiment, the employees still have to like consider what experiment to do with. Have to consider that whether that experiment is able to give the potential learning point or not.
In the other word, if you just to adjust one side, willingness to experiment, that is easy. But the part that is difficult is to stop that experiment. But most of the time when we do something, we like to keep going, and especially for reward system, if you reward someone that come up with successful experiments, so you don't want to stop, because if you stop, it means that you fail. So they talk about like flagship pioneer, that they have like reward system that they don't reward someone who keep going, and they say like they get no financial benefits from sticking with a elusive program. Something like if you recall Area 120 in Google, they also have like committee to review the idea every half a year, and if they find something that this is a signal that that project will not go anywhere, they can terminate that project right away. Though it's experiment, but you know where to stop. This is mean discipline, and also it's a balance act. And according to this article, senior leaders need to model discipline by, for example, terminating project that personally champion, even though it's probably their baby. But if it turns out to be not really good, they have to show example that even though it's my baby, I can kill that project. So this is like being discipline number 2. And what about number 3? Anybody can help me with number 3? Psychological safe but mutually candid. What does it mean by that? You are safe. You feel safe. You feel psychological safe because you can say anything and you will be fine. If it's not psychological safety, maybe when you say something and it's gonna hurt you back, harm you back, something like that. But for psychological safety, it means that you can say anything because you feel safe. You will not get in trouble because you share this information and because you say that information. But it's have to be candid, meaning that according to this article, psychological safety is two-way street. If it's safe for you to criticize others, so it's just safe for others to criticize you. So you want the truth, and we handle the truth. So you have to be able to handle the truth, in this type of environment. And it's very interesting when the author talking about one organization that one member of organization claimed that our problem is that we are incredibly nice organization. Why is problem? Because when we're nice, we don't want to say something to hurt other people. We're not candid enough. When we're not candid enough, it cannot lead to innovation because no improvement. Because okay, good. I think it's good. And okay, something like that. Okay, it's safe, yes, but it's not candid. It will not help with innovation. That is number 3. So yeah, have to be candid. For example, they're talking about Eisenhower. That's he said that I consider it duty of anyone who see a flaw in this plan not to hesitate to say no. Okay. I have no sympathy with anyone, whatever his station. We will not look cynicism. We are here to get the best possible result. So try to encourage criticism and try to take criticism. That should be, part of the culture. That if you want innovation, it's not just, to say that, to be that said, nobody would like to say something. Nobody would like to be so honest. Okay, number 4, collaboration with individual accountability. What does it mean? Collaboration with accountability.
We need to collaborate to make the to find the information to make the decision and finally select the decision to be like take the responsibility for that.
In other words, if you recall when we make decision in group, we have confidence and we safe. Because once we make decision in group, got input from lots of people, it's not our only our responsibility, right? That's the thing about collaboration. But it will not work for innovation. Even though it's collaboration, but we need someone to take responsibility or to hold accountability. And one example that I like very much is top executive from Johnson & Johnson, pharmaceutical division. Even though he gets information from lots of people, but when something went wrong, he said that, well, I take that blame. I am accountable. If I let this go beyond me and I point to people who took the risk to start and manage the program, then we create a worse organization and we are worse off. This stuff with me. Therefore, yes, even though we, everyone, this information from this one, not, idea from this person, but something someone that to take off the blame if something bad happened. That is the fourth one. And the fifth one, flat but strong leadership. Meaning that, well, we equal, we don't have a lot of hierarchy, but to be that, it needs leadership. And the question is, leadership from whom? According to this article, leadership from whom? Well, let me hear from somebody else, to make sure that, not only just, the three of you with, three of you with this article. How can I know that it's not just like, people assign you to read this article for everyone? But I appreciate your help. I'll come back to you if, I heard nothing. Leadership from whom? Flat organization, which is mean that very few hierarchy. And it's, when it few hierarchy is held with innovation, is because when you create, everyone is equal, everyone can share idea equally. It's not just an idea from the boss, and it's decentralized because it's flat organization. But it's not just flat. Flat organization is just one part of the story. Another part of the story is leadership. But my question is, leadership from whom?
Individuals.
From everyone in the organization. It's not just from top executive. So this is, from the first half that we talk about leadership, that it should not be just, with someone that in top position. It should be everyone that have leadership that is, when we talk about leadership, it's that initiative change. Can inspire other, can influence other. That is about, everyone should have leadership. And in this article said that getting balance right between flatness and strong leadership is part of top management and on employees throughout the organization. Steve Jobs again since he, good one in terms of innovation. In fact, he's the one that come up with the term that innovation distinguish between leader and follower. Steve Jobs was a great example of leader with this capacity. He laid out strong vision for Apple while being maniacally focused on technical and design issue. And then he just have other people who have leadership to do other things, to do something else. Okay. For employees, flatness require them to develop their own strong leadership capacity and to be comfortable with taking action and being accountable for that decision. Alright, so that's five characteristics. But those 5 characteristics have paradox, which is it's hard that we have to balance those paradoxes. How we get that flat with leadership, and then end with the journey that is it's different circumstances. It's not like one size fits all, and it takes time if you want to change organizational culture. Leader is very important, but also as I mentioned that HR mechanism is essential to transmit those organizational culture. And I think pretty much about this article. So before we move on to next other thing, what do you think about this article? Something that you agree or you disagree, or something that you like or you don't like about this article? Meaning that for this level, master level, you should not read for information. If you read for information, you just only get fact information. But I want you to go further, that you get knowledge. To get knowledge, you have to be think about this, come up with maybe your own criticism. It doesn't mean that something in here is gonna be good everything, or you have to believe them. It's just one piece of paper. It's not like something magic. And this is something that I would like to see, especially in our culture, that we tend to when someone says something, we listen right away with we don't think anything much. It should not be that way. Even though this is from Harvard Business Review, nonetheless, they are not God. We don't have to believe them in everything, or we don't have to agree with them. Or if you cannot, come up with criticism, maybe something that you really like, something that you fond of, something that I think you're gonna do that. Anything that you got from this article? Yeah.
I think it's because this article is actually written now in 2019. I think it's very up to date with what's happening in the world. But I think because everything is moving so fast, 5 years ago, Amazon and Google wouldn't be in this kind of article. It would be Microsoft or someone who's a bit behind, but they were the forefront of the industry in that time. So I think if you read this article in a couple of years' time, the tactics or the way that you look at organizational culture might not be as relevant, because people change, the way we live change.
Who knows? Maybe you're right, maybe you're wrong. So time will tell. Let's wait and see. If you put it that way, maybe something not. Probably it's turned out to be totally different from what others suggested. But from what he suggested, it's very hard to do so, to get that balance. But if you get that balance, probably it's good. Anyway, I don't know. Well, because they provide strong evidence like Google, like Apple, something like that. But yeah, from that you're producing, we cannot criticize now because it's not fair, because we're talking about something in the future. So we cannot debate something that never happened, that haven't happened. But yeah, maybe that, okay. But as you can see that they also use example from the past, for example, like Steve Jobs, which is can be like legend or icon in terms of innovation. something like we probably hard to argue with the way that he did because he so succeed. In fact, you know, I read this is article from PhD level talking about how to come up with clear vision. And one of the examples from Steve Jobs. Well, I'll try to post that on my Facebook because I'll try to make it easy and simple, you know, from that academic research paper to be someone that can understand. But you know, talking about it's better that we think about vision in picture than in abstract way. Is that it helps with communication from CEO to employees in the organization. For example, just like what Steve Jobs did. Okay. Anything else that you find that you like or you don't like, or maybe not make sense? Yeah.
I like the one where you're saying that you need to be candid to the other,
Uh-huh.
but I it's actually a question I was wondering if you think like anyway could work in Thai, like a very strong Thai culture, like in
Or
like I as a young-
are you Thai?
yes,
Can I be candid with you?
yes, for me like
Mhm.
but vice versa, can I be candid to you? Like because I am like younger, and in Thailand being candid, or if you talk like if you say your opinion, sometimes it can be like talk back to
I see what you mean, and I think it's rare for you to say that. Maybe because we in the culture that we like to save face, we เกรงใจ we don't want to hurt feelings, so most of the time we don't candid enough, and sometimes when we candid, some people think that you're rude. In culture that can be very challenging. But I think it's get better and better, don't you think? In terms of, you know, we can take candid feedback. But I think maybe something that help with being candid is that it's not just about content that you deliver, but maybe the way that you deliver. If you maybe like candid with smile, or you know the soft voice, I would say like just like pastel, make everything soft. And I would say instead of just like color pastel, I would think like small and soft voice. I think it's helped because this is from my experience. Because I find that most of the time I can be too candid. For example, when I give feedback, you know, when I, you know, I think this is my feedback, but sometimes people think that I attack. Maybe because actually I'm like, that is not my intention. But just because type of person that I'm very straightforward and very candid, I'm, you know, more Western than most Asian. So, but you know, but I learned that, you know, people tend to I'm not popular because the way that I communicate. And you know, when I witness someone that, well, they also communicate, you know, they also candid, but they just like with smile, with the soft voice, sometimes with like, you know, a little laugh. I think it's like, you know, it's make situation better. This is I learned from my professor, you know, that, you know, she give comment to students too, but students seem to take that comments very well and don't think that she harsh on students, and I don't understand why. And then maybe the way that, you know, she talks, most of the time she talk and she laugh. I don't think this is not good. No? Something like that. So it's like makes the situation so that I don't think it's not good. You know, like tone of voice can, you know, so this is, you know, you can be candid, but maybe not only content that you deliver, but maybe non-verbal language maybe can be very helpful. And this is from time to time I try to remind myself because I know that I'm the type of person that people tend to misperceive me that I attack because the way that I communicate. Okay, so that's, yeah, I agree, that's fine enough for your comments. All right, that's from this article. Unfortunately, we cannot continue with organizational culture because I think we need to take a break and we have a case. Therefore, how about we pause right now, right here, and then after break we continue with the case, with Mayo Philip case, and after that we, you know, see how it goes.
Went viral.